Well, I didn't expect to be getting more dinosaur support after the Wild Survivors stuff was just announced, but I was wrong, and our wave of legacy support continues with Rex Raptor support in Duelist Nexus, which is the set coming out in the OCG after Cyberstorm Access. I've always thought Rex Raptor was a neat side character, I suppose, and honestly, I don't even think Two-Headed King Rex getting some support is a terrible thing on the surface, but just based on a quick glance over these cards, I don't think they're very good, and I have to say, if you were gonna make more dinosaur support, perhaps we could have just utilized the normal monsters, because I think that might have been a better way to go. But let's jump into the video and take a look at these new cards, and you guys can see what you think of the new Rex Raptor support in Duelist Nexus. Alright everybody, thank you so much for checking out the video. If you do enjoy, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon if you want to stay notified for up-to-date, notifications, I guess, because that's a great sentence. Anyway, we are jumping into today's video without wasting any more of your time. And as I mentioned in the intro, we are looking at cards from Cyberstorm Access's follow-up set, Duelist Nexus. Now, there are 5 new cards here, all themed around Rex Raptor and the Two-Headed King Rex. I've always liked it. I have a bit of a soft spot in my heart for a lot of the nostalgic vanilla monsters from the first couple of seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh! And honestly, I just think they're kind of cool. So when they do these retrades, I usually get excited, but just these cards feel so underwhelming right off the bat. But we'll review them all. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think of these cards, because I understand dinosaurs getting more support, and it's definitely a fan favorite type. But compared to the dinosaur stuff we got announced a while back for Wild Survivors, this just doesn't really hit the mark for me. Artwork-wise, though, it is really cool, so I will say that. It is cool to see Two-Headed King Rex's upgrades from an art perspective, but if anything, it's a little bit more bitter because we got these really cool designs on cards that just aren't that good. King Rex the Dragon King is a level 9 Earth dinosaur monster, and it says when this attacking card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can make this card gain a second attack during this battle phase. Once per turn, except the turn this card was summoned, you can target up to 2 monsters your opponent controls, destroy them. Let's break this down. First of all, when it's attacking destroys the monster by battle, make a second attack. This is a level 9 dinosaur that has no cheesing summoning condition. You could have just made this so it could attack twice per battle phase, and it would have been fine. It's, 2023. It has no built-in protection. There's zero reason that couldn't have just been that. Making it so it has to destroy a monster by battle makes it even worse than it would have been had it had the other effect. Now, being able to destroy up to 2 monsters the opponent controls, kind of neat. Why is it that it has to be except during the turn it's summoned? It's almost like they wanted this to be pack filler right off the bat, because if you had the option to special this and then pop up to 2 monsters, you could maybe play it as a one-of in dinosaur decks to summon off of like Baby Ceratosaurus or something like that and have the ability to pop some stuff. But again, this doesn't have any built-in protection. It doesn't really net you any significant advantage other than allowing you the option to pop. So any potential that the card had kind of came and went without any real pomp and circumstance. So it's got cool artwork, but that's about the best thing I could say for it. You can't even tutor it out using some of the dinosaur stuff and really effectively be able to utilize its effect. The best I could think of is like an end phase drop where maybe you bring it out, popping something with a quick effect. But even then, it's just like, it's such effort, and it's not really worth the amount of investment that you're going to put into it. So I am out on this. The art is cool, but the card itself is a no-go from me. King Rex the Twin-Headed Dragon has some really, really cool artwork. It's obviously the secondary level upgrade for Two-Headed King Rex, and I just like the outline where it almost looks like a manga version. It reminds me of the Blue Eyes from the Megatons this past year with the cool art. Definitely really appreciate the art style on these, but it is a level 6 Earth dinosaur, and it says if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon King Rex the Twin-Headed Dragon once per turn this way. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target 1 monster on the field with attack lower than the total attack of all dinosaur monsters you control. You can only use this effect of King Rex, the Twin-Headed Dragon, once per turn. Okay, so this isn't as bad. It is a somewhat extender in the sense that you can special it out, but you also have to control no monsters, so it has to be your first play. And if that's the case, if you're specialing it out that way, being able to pop stuff, you're going to be limited to monster with 1600 attack or less. Again, I just don't understand why they went so heavy on the restrictions. Like, you could you have this say, if you control a dinosaur monster, you can special this card from your hand, but if you do, you're locked into dinosaurs for the rest of the turn. And then you'd have potentially like a practical way to use this to pop something while also allowing dinosaurs to still play and not making it such that you're losing its biggest utility piece right off the bat. I don't really know what more to say about it. Like, I like it, and I guess it is technically better than the first card we discussed, but beyond that, it's just really cool wasted art on a card that just isn't going to do anything, even in casual decks, because, you know, we've established that, like, casual decks can still be fun, and can even still do okay at a lower level. This is just not going to check any of those boxes, which is really a shame because it's a really cool looking card. Transcendental Evolution Pill Beta. That is a sentence. And of course, we've got Mega Zowler in the artwork there. I will always appreciate those throwbacks. This is an evolution pill card, meaning it is searchable by Animador and Argosaur, which is, you know, something worth noting. Tribute 2 monsters from your hand and or field, including at least 1 dinosaur monster. You cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except dragon, dinosaur, sea serpent, and worm monsters. Also, special summon 1 level 5 or higher dinosaur monster from your deck or extra deck with attack higher than the tributed monster's total attack. Alright, now we're talking. This card is actually pretty good. Being able to tribute from hand or field does sort of make it a little bit less bad than if you just had to get them out of hand. The locking out of the extra deck, a little annoying, of course, but it's not locking you out of any relevant types for the most part in dinos. And being able to tutor out any level 5 or higher dino from the deck or extra deck is what's kind of neat there. We obviously don't have a ton of dinosaur extra deck monsters that are, like, really good. I will say a couple of the new ones that we got from Wild Survivors definitely look like they have potential, and there may be a few, like, random ones like Dino Wrestlers and past cards that I have to go back and kind of revisit, but this is searchable, and it does allow you to bring powerful monsters out from the deck. Unfortunately, it doesn't ignore summon conditions, so you can't bring out something like Overtext with this, but at least it's got some potential, and it might help dinos. I worry about, like, the tributing from hand and or field thing being a big cost, because you don't get the benefit that you would by, like, banishing from grave. If it maybe even, like, destroyed in hand or field, then maybe you could utilize it in some way, although it could, I guess, be really powerful to trigger, like Baby Ceratosaurus, Petit Pteranodon, and such. I don't know about this one. On the surface, it definitely feels better than some of the other evolution pill cards, I suppose, but it does look like one of those cards that's going to need to have some play testing before we're really able to determine whether or not it's actually going to be good. Now, Jurassic Power, just another really basic artwork reminiscent of Yu-Gi-Oh's, like, older style, which is just so cool to see. We obviously get a lot of, like, cool, like, you know, anime style stuff nowadays, but when they go back to just the monsters, it's always sort of a nice throwback. And this is a continuous spell. It says dinosaur monsters you control gain 300 attack. You can normal summon level 5 or higher dinosaur monsters without tributing. You can send 1 dinosaur monster from your hand or field to the graveyard, add 1 dinosaur monster with 1200 defense from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Jurassic Power once per turn. So when I read this at first, I was like, wait, 1200 or less defense, which I was like, that's really good, but it's not that, of course. It is just 1200 defense exactly, which means the card pool is pretty limited. However, the best target that I can identify that you can search off of this is actually going to be Dogoron the Mad Flame Kaiju. That is a dinosaur monster, and it does have exactly 1200 defense, which means being able to search a Kaiju is kind of neat, and also being able to summon your dinos without tributing does allow you to get out of some of the bricky hands that you might get, but I don't think, like, pure dinosaur is really going to be able to utilize this. If anything, it might be the Xenometeoros, like that package, and I've referenced the Wild Survivor stuff a few times, but I don't know, attack buff plus the ability to search out a Kaiju at any time is kind of neat, especially in a format where we deal with a lot of zone locking and stuff. Discard a dino, search a Kaiju is the best thing I can think for it. I don't, again, know whether or not that's going to warrant it actually having slot in a deck, but it is a neat thing to note. A few other targets include, like, Elementsaurus and Crawling Dragon number 2. I don't necessarily expect that to be crazy with either of these, and I believe, obviously, Two-Headed King Rex is another searchable target, but generally speaking, Dogoron's the only target that would make this card worth, like, any level of discussion. Still, it's kind of neat, and it does give the newer cards we looked at, like, a little bit more practicality, but we're looking at, like, 2007 if we're talking about any type of real relevance. They're a little bit disappointing despite being cool in design. And lastly, we've got Granosaurus, the Magic Head Cannon. Granosaurus getting a massive upgrade to his whole thing he's got going on there. And this is a rank 4 fire dinosaur Xyz that needs 2 level 4 monsters as material. If you guys remember the original Granosaurus, it actually was played at the beginning of Xyz format simply because there just weren't a lot of options, and Granosaurus could occasionally help to push for game. This one says, when your dinosaur monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can detach one material from it. Inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent, then this card gains 1,000 attack. If the Succeed Summon card is destroyed, you can target one card on the field, destroy it, and if you do, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. You can only use this effect once per turn. So, it's definitely an upgrade over the original Granosaurus, and it's neat because dinosaurs do a lot of things to pop other cards, so there are ways you can utilize this to pop something the opponent has on the field, and then burn for damage. I should also mention, even though it's not super practical, that you can pop your own cards with this when it's destroyed, so maybe some level of, triggering other cards. I don't really think that's going to come up all that often at all, but it's just worth noting. And just, again, I can't say enough how much I really like the design of these cards, which is arguably why it's so disappointing that they all kind of suck. But maybe you guys are dinosaur players and you're a little bit more excited about this than I am because there's some crazy combo line that I missed. And if that's the case, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think of these cards and whether or not you think we might see more legacy support along these lines in Duelist Nexus and other sets going forward. And if so, what other legacy support do you want to see? I don't mind revisiting the well and giving upgrades to cards from previous sets, but if we are going to do it, we might as well make some of them at least good. And I don't think these really hit that level. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.